For the Interrobank, I'm Gracia Espinosa, and welcome to this episode on the Red Couch podcast, Scott Navarro. He is a Rogers TV producer and now professor of Fanshawe College. Hi, Scott.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, that you are here because I met you when I was volunteering Rogers TV and now you are my guest.
Yes, yeah, and here you are with your own show.
Yeah. Well, the show of the Interrobank.
Fair, okay.
So when did you start to be professor?
So I just started in the fall 2023 there. So I've just done one full semester, and this is my second semester here at Fanshawe as a professor.
Oh, wow. How was the experience until right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. It was an adjustment, kind of figuring out, I'm still working full time, and then I'm just teaching, 6 hours a week, but there's, prep outside of those hours and that kind of stuff. So it was figuring that out. And then I also had a child last semester too. So
oh, yeah?
I had a baby and a new job on top of my full-time job. So
Navarro, congratulations for that.
I really enjoyed it. Like the students in my program, they picked TV. Like I'm teaching second year, so they had to pick between film and TV. So those students were really interested in TV for the most part. So, they've got that same kind of passion for like the live production and that kind of stuff. So it was cool seeing, that come through in the class. And some of them I had as volunteers in their first year because they do some field placement with us. So seeing some of them again and then seeing some new faces, it was a lot of fun.
Wow. I don't know if it's very different when you have to teach someone because obviously you have been in Rogers TV how many years?
Just over 6 years now at Rogers TV. And I mean, I do some teaching there. Like we get a lot of the students, especially from Fanshawe. So, I'm teaching a lot of them kind of as part of my job, but to be officially a teacher was definitely a new experience for me.
We will talk about the volunteer, but now as a professor, how you can teach all your knowledge, all your tips that you have with your background, because sometimes in my case I have few difficulties to explain the things that I know because sometimes it's the experience and the circumstances.
It's hard to know what they already know, and you don't want to teach them too much of what they already know, but you need to build on some of those fundamentals and add in some of the stuff that I've learned over the years. So it's an adjustment, and like everybody's at a different point too, right? So like some of them maybe pick something up in first year and remember it, and some of them don't. So it's just like figuring out where everybody was at, and then figuring out how to teach it week by week, and make sure that everybody is along for the ride too. Like last semester we changed positions on the crew. Like we made a TV show every week, and they were doing something new almost every week. So, we have a 3-hour class, and they have to try and kind of learn that position and do it for the show in that 3 hours. And then, we're working in some other stuff in that other 6 or the other 3 hours for the 6. But it was just, trying to give them information, but not too much, but not enough. Like you wanted to make it worth their time, but you don't want to overwhelm them. Like there was one class for sure where like I showed them everything I know about the switcher, and they I think I overwhelmed some of them.
Sometimes you cannot avoid the theory, the information, because at the end it's the experience, but you need to know few steps to start. So, and I would like to explain how I discovered you were professor here, because we were here in the office, Hannah, the editor, and I, and we started hearing voices like against LGBTQI plus community, and we were concerned like, what's going on? And she told me that, Gracia, go to check. And when I went, I saw few of your students, and you were with them. And we thought at the beginning it was a real protest, a real revolt. And you and the other professor and producer, Shane, explained me that no, it's an assignment, a practice that we are doing, to cover a live protest or a real experience. And tell me more about this, because it's it's something that all the time Hannah and I, we are like, do you remember when we thought that there were a real revolt protest here at
I'll be honest, I
Fanshawe.
wasn't really part of that. That was more Shane's thing.
Yeah, more Shane.
Shane was teaching a post-grad journalism program, so in the TV news. So that was more his thing. I wasn't super involved, but yeah, that's Shane and I were both teaching last semester. He's my coworker at Rogers TV as well. So him and I kind of both jumped in. He had taught here years ago, and he kind of jumped back in this past semester. So him and I were both trying to figure it out together a little bit.
No, but it's good because one of the things I always say that I like the way that professors in Fanshawe teach, because they explain their experience, their background. Because when you are learning, you are, I don't want to say this word, but you are trying to memorize the theory, and you want to put it in practice, you can't. So that's why I really appreciate this kind of practice and the way that you have this experience in Rogers TV, because you can give an explanation, you can give a real advice that when you have this problem, you can do this. When you have the camera and you cannot hear what the producer is saying, try to explain the ambience until you recover the sound. So how many programs, for example, in your case, have you been a producer in Rogers TV? TV shows?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, right now I'm probably working on 5 or 6 shows. Like I do a weekly, sports show, like a hockey game that we cover, and I've seen a lot of my students there, and it's cool, like that they come out, kind of outside of class as well. We have kind of that component. They either kind of help here with the Falcons games, the basketball and the volleyball, that kind of thing, or they can come over and do it at Rogers. So, being able to kind of show, like, I know what I'm doing almost a little bit, right? Like they come out and it's like, okay, he's not lying. He does produce hockey games every week or whatever, right? Like, and I remember when I was a student here, it was the same thing. Like Morgan, who's still teaching here, he was working at Rogers TV at the time. And, I was a volunteer there and I was a student here, and it was getting to interact with him in those 2 different kind of ways was really cool, because you're learning in class and then you're also learning kind of out on the job from, your professor, but at that point, it's just a coworker almost.
But perhaps your students started when you talk about the experience of the volunteering in Rogers TV, or they were volunteers before they met you?
A couple of them kind of joined last year, because in the first year of the TV program, you have to get some kind of field placement hours. And again, some of them had just done it from Rogers TV there. But 2 of them had signed up kind of at the beginning of this past semester when I mentioned it, like, hey, I work here, we take volunteers. So a couple of them joined up that way.
Yeah. What the students prefer to cover? Because in my case, I love to cover the hockey games. And I suggested to Ian, one of the students of broadcasting, he should do this volunteering, because it's the way that you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to watch at the same time a hockey game, so for free. I mean, you're working, but it's a good experience. I don't know what they think. I mean, I don't know if they prefer to be in the TV station, outside.
Yeah, I mean, some of them really love bingo. We got TV bingo every Monday night, so that one is pretty popular with some students. But yeah, hockey games, we cover one every week on Wednesday nights with London Nationals. So we get a lot of the students doing that. It's the way they get a bulk of their hours as well. It's a longer shift, so we'll get them doing that a little bit more. And some of them have never seen a hockey game before in their life before they come to us. So it's explaining hockey first and then how to do camera.
That's why I love that volunteer, because it's the way that I had to watch a hockey game for the first time.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I'm explaining, okay, here's where the face-off is, and they're like, what's a face-off? So it's like, it's teaching them TV stuff and then also teaching them the specifics of whatever sport or event we're covering. It's kind of a unique kind of mix there.
In your case, I mean, all your students are going to be producers, sound technicians, camera, but if you are not very concern or you are not related to this field, you can do the volunteer, right?
Yeah, exactly. At Rogers TV, we're taking anybody. Like we've a guy who's been volunteering with us for years, and he's a full-time electrician, but he comes and he volunteers with us and does a bunch of our games too, right? Like we have what we call it community volunteers that are just interested in it, right? So they can come out and Like I said, we've got stuff in the studio like bingo or talk shows, and then we've got stuff mobile productions out in the field. So hockey games, in the summer we do soccer and baseball and all that kind of stuff. So we're always looking for lots of people to come out and join us. There's lots of spots on the crew, so you don't have to be in TV to come out.
Of course, because sometimes people ask me that, but I have to know how I can use the camera or the mic, and I say no. I mean, I am, for example, I'm journalist and reporter. I am not a sound technician or a professional of the camera, but you always have to hear to listen the instructions of the producer and try to do your best. And if you make a mistake, I always repeat the same, no worries. They are very, very nice. And if you make a mistake, they are going to try to explain you what did you do and how you could do it better for the next times.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we want to see, right? People learning and growing. It's not always about getting it right all the time, every time. But a lot of people, like, the thing I say to people a lot that kind of blows their mind a little bit is if you watch a London Knights game, like a lot of people out there are OHL fans, there's 2 staff and everybody else is a volunteer. So everybody operating a camera, doing audio, doing graphics, doing replay on a Knights broadcast are volunteers. So, you don't come in and join us and start there right away. We kind of train you a little bit, and, you'll do some London Nationals games with me on Wednesdays or some other stuff, and then you kind of work your way up to that. But, there's only 2 staff. Everybody else is volunteers. So, especially, when you say that with the Knights broadcast, people are amazed because it's a really good quality product. And then it's also, it's the highest kind of level of hockey in this immediate area. So it's exciting for people.
Mm-hmm. And you always play a different role. You are not going to be all the time the sound technician, the camera. Perhaps you are the person who are going to do the graphics, or the person who has to carry the cameras. And for me, it's amazing to see all the big cases. And when you see them, and after the show, you see how big is the camera. It's like, wow, and I did it.
yeah, exactly. And people come in, they have no idea how to build it, and then we teach them, and then they got no problem. It's amazing to see the growth from the people too.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you, this volunteering is during all the year, or I don't know if on summer there is a possibility for. I mean, I know that right now, if someone is interested, can apply for the volunteer, but I don't know if on summer you have volunteer too, or...
For sure, yeah. We run all year long. We actually need more people in the summer, usually kind of from the community, because then we don't get that same level of kind of field placement students, because the students, a lot of them go home for the summer, so...
good to know, because I suppose that on summer, perhaps because the audience... there are less audience, so I suppose that you didn't need volunteers, but not on summer. You need more the volunteers.
Yeah, because we don't get that flood of students because they go home. So we still cover soccer and baseball and that kind of stuff. So we still need kind of the same level of crew. We just don't get the built-in kind of volunteers that we get. A lot of them from Fanshawe, which is an amazing partnership that we've got with Fanshawe. But yeah, if you're interested, you can go to rogerstv.com/volunteer, and we'd love to hear from you.
I don't know. How long have been Rogers TV and Fanshawe College together? I mean, as a partnership.
It's been a long time. Like, I was a student here like 10 years ago, and it was already kind of in place. So I'm not sure how long it goes back, but there's been a great relationship between the broadcasting program here at Fanshawe and us at Rogers TV.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would like to mention a few of the programs that people can do the volunteer. One of them, of course, the hockey games. Other volunteers that I did with you, Scott, it was the Remembrance Day, the Santa's Parade. I missed because there was another event that I couldn't do last year. It's related to Santa, something the Rogers TV.
Yeah, Talk to Santa. That's a popular one where kids call in and get to talk to Santa. Yeah.
Yeah. The other one is the program. Of course, Optimist TV Bingo with Becky. Other volunteer, the London.
What's Up London? Yeah, it's like a studio talk show type of thing. Yeah.
And the other one is related to the program in which people talk about their experience in the past with
like mental health challenges. Yeah, and
mental health
Yeah, the show's called Invisible. Yeah.
Invisibles, yeah.
Yeah, that's another
So
studio show. So like, yeah, there's a good mix, right? There's some stuff kind of at the Rogers TV studio, some stuff out on location.
because sometimes people say, this volunteer outside, no worries, because you can choose. I mean, if you want to do this volunteer, it's not like, oh, you have to do this, you must do. No, you have the opportunity to choose the volunteer that you want to do. So you want to be in Rogers TV station, it's good. But if you want to be outside, it's good too. So, the other important thing, you don't need to buy like mic or cables. Rogers TV is going to provide all the important things that you need for the covering. And I don't know if still people appreciate this kind of experience. So I don't know if people still, I remembered when I did this volunteer here, it was a good experience. I don't know if now you know that there are volunteers who now work on TV or another.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have lots of kind of on-air talent that people might have seen, like Carolyn Cameron, who's with Sportsnet. She was a volunteer with Rogers back in the day. Even Jennifer Hedger, a lot of sports people, like Paige Martin was a volunteer with us. Now she's working for the Edmonton Oilers. So, I mean, in terms of on-air stuff, we get a lot of kind of that way, but there's plenty of volunteers that worked with us and now work in Toronto on plenty of shows with, CTV or TSN or that, Sportsnet, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I know if you are a student of Fanshawe, it's easier to be volunteer because sometimes you have a professor, like you, for example, I want to be volunteer and you contact with Melissa G. She's the coordinator of the volunteers. But if you are not related to Fanshawe, how people can apply for this volunteer?
Yeah, just go to rogerstv.com/volunteer and there's an application form in there. Just make sure you're selected on London. And it comes through to us, and then we'll be in touch and we'll get you trained.
Mm-hmm. And the training is very easy. I mean, it's not something that you are going to spend like 2-3 days. It's obvious a PDF in which you have to read the basic thing that you need to know, to learn basic concept that I repeat, I emphasize. If you have no idea, no worries, because I was so worried at the beginning. I remember when I called Shane, like, Shane, I don't know what I'm going to do, and the TV program is going to start in 30 minutes. And she was like, no worries, it's very easy. You only have to switch and they are going to consider your skills. So anyway, I mean, I would like to explain more about the volunteering because, I mean, I always try to get people for this volunteer. One of them was Peggy. Peggy, for example, was one of your students, came to the Remembrance Day because I told her, you have to go to this volunteer because Shane and Scott are going to be the producers. They are amazing. Yeah. So, for example, when I was doing the camera, for example, Becky was in the, how we can say, van or the van?
In the truck, yeah.
In the truck. So in her case, what she was doing with you guys?
Yeah, so she was doing graphics for that production. So even if you're out on location with us, sometimes you're out in the elements with cameras. But we've got the big mobile production truck. So in there we've got the audio board, the graphics computer, the replay machine, that kind of stuff. So there's kind of mixes of opportunities on those as well.
And the truck is new, or?
Yeah, we got a new truck this year. Yeah. So it was an exciting time.
I have just remembered the conversation. I was like, I think they told me it's a new truck.
Yeah, so we got a lot of brand new equipment in there. If you want to come and learn on that stuff.
Oh, good to know. So, thank you so much, Scott, for this interview. I really appreciate you came and you explained me more about the volunteer. We talk about our experience and. Yeah, now I should ask to your students what they think about you.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. I don't know if they would, be completely honest and with a microphone in their face, but I would hope so. But yeah, thanks so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
I will ask them. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Red Couch podcast. You can catch up with every episode on our website or wherever you get your podcast. Watch full episodes on our YouTube channel and subscribe to our newsletter to keep up with Fanshawe. For the Interrobank, I'm Gracia Espinosa.